I'm Chris, and today I want to show you the next video in a series about my game Planet Defender. As you see, today we go into the details of the rulebook. Here in the start screen you see the table of contents, the basic concept and the package contents. So you see the game contains mostly cards, 235 cards of the Opera-Noche, 146 cards of the Chopper and 32 terrain cards. 6 dice with each 20 sides. I don't know why there is written 3d12. I think that I have to change that. I do quickly. So in the Word document it's changed. Let's see. Besides we have 250 tokens with 8mm each length. I think this will stay. I think with this we can work very good. And 100 tokens with 12mm each length and 2 night marker. I come to this in the course of this video. So let's go. First the construction. As you see, the Chopper player puts his mothership on the part 1, on the first thing here. Then his evolution pile, his deck on the evolution pile here. Then the Opera-Noche players place their commanders and the decks here on the piles, depending how many players are here, up to 3 players. And in the middle, point 10, the 4 terrain cards. Yeah. Then the green tokens for the plants will be placed on the terrain cards, and the red tokens for the animals too. And the 2 night markers are placed on 2 neighboring terrain cards next to the cards, so to show that this terrain is on the night side and the other terrains are on the day side. And the command center of the Opera-Noche player will be placed on one of those areas. They can choose whatever they want, one field wherever they want, and they are in the command center. Then here you see the list what number is what position. Then we see how cards are constructed. I explained it in an earlier video. First how the cards are constructed, and then the names of the different parts of the card, and here the explanation of the symbols. I think it's all self-explaining when you read it. The next page are the symbols for the defense parts of the cards, and the last part is the offensive parts of the card. as additional. Oh, I see that I don't have the day-night thing. That I will change to. This will go on this page. Okay. The next part is the morale. I think about this I will make a separate video. The short description is when a card, a Obranosh warrior gets activated, if his morale is positive, the player can not must, can throw a d20 and has to throw under the value capped by 10. So no matter how high the morale is, 10 is the maximum that counts, and he has to roll under 10, under this number. And if positive, if he achieved it, then the warrior gains a second activation. And if the morale value is negative, before he activates the warrior, he has to throw a d20 and has to throw over the number, again capped by 10. And if he failed, then the warrior gets an activation mark without doing an action. Then a short list of the tokens. Black tokens are used as wounds by commanders, warriors, ships, buildings. Oh, and the mothership will be kicked because the mothership this is what I so Gebäuden verwendet, jawohl. And because the mothership I kicked out because the evolution piled deck of the chopper player is the HB of the mothership. This will explain later on. And on swarms they have units, so they literally start with that many tokens, and every time a swarm gets damaged, one unit will be removed. So blue tokens, fatigue on warriors and time counters on face down cards. Face down cards are on Obranosh side cards that are transported via warp portal or teleportation to the scene, and on the chopper side, face down cards are used, are breeded like their eggs, and when the time is finished, then the egg pops open, and the card is in game. Green tokens, currently only for plants. As I explained in a previous video, when all plants on the planet on a terrain card are destroyed, then the terrain card is devastated, and if all 4 terrain cards are devastated, the planet is devastated and the Obranosh players have lost the game. Red tokens are for animals. Animals can defend the terrain a little bit, but are mostly alone on itself. And yellow tokens are just used as random tokens. You can use it for to show different things. Card types. I already explained it in the previous video, so I jump over quickly. Obranosh cards have a commander, a warrior, ships, equipment cards, building cards, abilities, abilities with different subtypes, like in this example songs, cybernetic cards, tattoos, and robots. And Chopper has, of course, the mothership, swarms, abilities, and mutations. Then there are terrain cards. I try to link the previous video on this point, so you can watch it again if you want to. Then victory. Victory conditions. Of course, the Oprenage has the obligation to destroy the mothership. They can either play on time, so the mothership gets destroyed because it has no cards in deck, or they can actively attack the mothership to speed this up a little bit. And the chopper player, of course, has the victory condition to devastate the whole planet and or kill all Oprenage commanders. Then the attracted rule. Every terrain is attracted to the next terrain, and the far left and the far right counts as attracted too, because they are like on a planet next to each other. And rows that you saw in the map, where I showed you the map, every row is attracted to each row in front and behind of it, and the row far near is attracted to the row far away of the attracted terrain cards. So you can move literally on the planet roundabout, but not, said again, not the far away. You cannot go back from far away to the near. You only can go from the near to the far away side. So then I think one of the more interesting things is how one turn goes. It starts with the chopper player. All at the start of your turn effects get activated. Then all face down cards gain a time marker, and if there are enough time marker on it, then the card is turned face up and it is placed where it should be. Swarms stay on the field, abilities go in the ability pile, ability row of the chopper player, and mutation cards go to any swarm in the game. Then the chopper player has to draw a card. Okay, this I have to change. If you can draw a card, let's see, where is it? Kannst du keine. So, in the Word document it's changed. Here is written, if draw a card from your evolution pile, if you cannot gain a wound. I changed it, if you cannot draw a card, you've lost the game. Then action phase. In this phase, the chopper player can activate his mothership and all his swarms to do different actions. For example, as mothership, he can switch position from the orbit to where the place of the mothership is, to one of the rows on the planet, or as flying, or when he's flying back to orbit, or as landed. And this has the different abilities. When the mothership is flying on the planet, then it can release flying swarms on the battlefield, and if the mothership is landed, it can release non-flying swarms to the surrounding area. Then, as mothership, you can draw a card. You can gain one larve. Maybe I say that it produces one larve anyways in the beginning of the game, of the turn. Let's see. Then you can breed one card. You can you can place one card on your notation list or in your hunger slots. In which you pay the larve costs. And if you are landed, you can place your egg cards face down, your eggs on the same row. Face down cards can be attacked and have, for normal, no stealth, no dodge, and no armor, so you should protect them. And every swarm can move around. I think I explained in a previous video about the structure of the cards. Swarms have movement points, and from this they can move according to how hard the terrain is. And of course they can attack. Yeah. Then the discard phase. There is written intelligence. This I have to change. So, I switched intelligence to gene pool. And then, at last, at the end of your turn effects, as at the beginning of the turn effects, you can choose in which order they are done. Then the Operosh players, of course, when you at the start of your turn effects become active, then all warriors lose one fatigue tokens. Every warrior one token. And when there are still more wound and fatigue tokens than the endurance of the warrior, then he cannot be activated. Then of course all face down cards gain one time counter, and if there are enough time tokens on it, then the cards will be turned face up, and warriors, ships, buildings, and robots and equipment cards stay on the place where they are summoned. Ability cards go to the ability section of the map for the Operosh players, and cyberware and tattoos will be placed on a warrior or on the commander. So then action phase. You see the Operosh player don't draw a card per se. They have to activate and gain a fatigue token with their commander to draw a card, or they can also move into or leave the command center. This means they move from their AD field to to the battlefield and can move around like a normal warrior. And then they have the ability to gain 1 crystal, but okay, only the idea. I think this will be changed that every warrior can produce 1 crystal. That I move down. So I know it looks a little bit unprofessional. When I change in the video, but there are mistakes that I didn't saw when I read over it in the first place. So as warrior and as commander you can receive 1 crystal, and as commander you can open a warp portal or a hyperspace portal, you can call it as you want, and bring 1 card from your hand face down onto the battlefield. Yeah, and of course, like the axe from the chopper player, the summoned cards don't have stealth, dodge or armor, and should be defended at all costs. Because when they gain damage, they lose 1 time counter, like the axe, and when no time counters are on it, then the card gets destroyed without doing anything on the field. And then, of course, you have the movement action, where you can move a warrior rear and gain as many additional fatigue tokens depending from how hard the terrain is. And at the end, the attack action, where you can attack, of course, an enemy or any other card that is in range. Then the discard phase. I should say that the Opanosh players can choose their activation as the order of their activation as they want. So player 1 can activate 2 cards, then player 3 can activate 1 card, and then player 2 can activate 1 card, and they can tell themselves how they want to activate their cards. Then the discard phase, of course. The discard phase, where you discard cards from your hand until you have them are as many as your intelligence allows it, and then at the end of your turn, effects will gain activated. And then the time phase, after all Opanosh players said they don't want to activate anymore, the time phase, or the far left night marker go to the right position of the far rightest night marker, so that the day and night cycles moves forward. Then I explain in the next point how an attack will be done. Short said, the activating player chooses the card he wants to activate and the target he wants to attack. A Opanosh player, as addition, can choose an equipped card to gain the attack bonus. Then the attacking player throws all 3 dice, 1 black, 1 red and 1 green. And depending on the numbers rolled, the black dice will be used against the stealth of the target. And here he can use the first time the attack bonus to enhance the value of the dice until he meets the stealth value of the target. Then the remaining attack bonus can be used on the green dice that will be used against the dodge of the target. The same thing. You can use the remaining attack bonus to enhance the green dice until it matches the dodge value of the target. And last point is the armor, and here you can use the remaining attack bonus to reach the armor level of the target, and if all three dices gone through the defensive values, the target card gains 1 damage. That means a Overnosh card receives 1 wound, and a chopper card, a swarm, loses 1 unit. And then you have the 4 distances where you can attack. Attacks on far distance means from your far to your near range. So in fact you stay on the farthest away. Medium distance is until 2 rows away. Short distance is the ejected row, and melee range is of course the same row. And this shows you how the attack bonus is displayed. And when you try to attack a target that is nearer than your distance attack allows, you gain -2 on your attack dice, on your attack value. After the attacker attacked, the defender can attack too, and follows the same rules like the attacker. Then the chopper player can attack plants or animals. In both cases, the animals will make a counter-attack to the chopper player, and when a card attacks the card, then the dodge and the stealth will always be ignored, so it only attacks the armor. Then movement action, there you see how many movement points or fatigue tokens it costs to move on a terrain. It's literally straightforward, 1, 2, 4, or 8 on a very, very hard terrain. Damage types, I explain it shortly. There are the 5 damage types currently are kinetic, thermal, electromagnetic, chemical, and frost damage. And every card, most of the cards, has a resistance against some damage types. A resistant means that you have to throw a second time against the armor. Same rules than before. You can use your remaining attack bonus to meet the armor value, and if you have a card have a weakness against a damage type, then the armor will be ignored. So you literally can overcome and deal 1 damage with stealth and dodge and ignoring armor. Then rules for the deck building. As I said in a previous video, the Overnosh and the chopper player can build the decks so they can play with the cards they have in the box. Overnosh commanders choose cards from other factions according to the morale, and dropper player motherships can choose different cards from other factions according to the terror. And legendary neutral cards does not count against the limits, so you can put as many neutral cards as you want, and legendary cards from other faction counts 3 points. So you should choose wisely. And dropper player is the deck are the HP of the mothership, so you should choose wisely how many cards you put in. When you put more cards in, you have more HP, but then it can be harder to get the right cards to the right time, so you should choose wisely. So this was it for now. In the next video I will talk about the different factions that there are in each side. And yeah, I hope you liked it. As always, if you have questions, just put them in the comment section. I will try to answer as honest and quick as possible. Thank you, have a nice evening, and bye bye.